Part 55. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 541. Chapter 541. Feng Shuang smiled softly, and then said, "Okay, don't be like this. I didn't do very well in the exam this time. It's okay if you work hard. I have something to do, so I'll leave first." Everyone doesn't know that Feng Shuang actually has no confidence now. 90 is already her highest estimate. This time, it is really too difficult. Shuang, how did you do in the exam? It's okay, but the test paper this time is a bit difficult, uncle. Feng Shuang received a call from her uncle, and her voice immediately softened. She knew her position very well. She was now in the Feng family. If it weren't for the fact that her scores were still good enough and she could bring benefits to the Feng family, she would have been there long ago. She has already been kicked out, so she cannot fail, and I must work hard to get first place. Well, can I get first place this time? There shouldn't be any big problem, Feng Shuang said. Very good, this time Feng, if you get first place, I will introduce you to DRLI from now on, you will study with him. When the time comes, you will join the National Medical Association, do you hear me? Really, uncle? Feng Shuang was stunned by this sudden surprise. Dr. Li. Is it the Li Yun who is famous overseas? If she is lucky enough to be able to follow Li Yun, she will definitely be able to join the National Medical Alliance in the future, because Li Yun can be considered a person with a say in the National Medical Alliance. Moreover, they are inside. Is an internal member. Well, so this time, you must live up to your expectations. Don't worry, uncle, I won't make it difficult for you, this time, I will definitely get the first place. Feng Shuang now feels that she is so lucky. She has long forgotten everything before and feels that she is number one now. Shuang, why are you so happy? It's nothing, just, my uncle said that when I go back, I will ask Li Yun to be your teacher. From now on, let me work in the National Medical Association. Oh my god, Li Yun, is that Li Yun? Yes, Feng Shuang nodded and smiled. I didn't expect that my uncle would give me such a big surprise. Shuang, you must work hard and lead us when you join the National Medical Association. Right, Shuang, the National Medical Alliance's treatment is very good. If you join, you will definitely not worry about money. Oh my god, no, I'm so happy, why don't I have an uncle like this? Feng Shuang lowered her head and laughed when she heard the compliments from those people. Ling, the results came out today, I'm so nervous. Why are you nervous? Don't you know how to be nervous? Feng Ling listened to songs and played games. It's quite carefree. Chen Pingping twitched her mouth. It's okay to make me nervous. You are meaninglessly nervous. Stinky Ling specializes in ruining the atmosphere. Chen Pingping gave Feng Ling a roll of her eyes. I'm going to check my scores, do you want to check them for you? If you're curious, just check it yourself. Feng Ling threw her account password to Chen Pingping. Chen Pingping. This sister is really big-hearted. She boarded her own first, and after seeing 100, she breathed a long sigh of relief. The question this time is indeed a bit too high for others. However, she has studied a lot at the National Medical Association, so this question is not difficult for Chen Pingping. Chen Pingping then logged into Feng Ling's interface, and then... Ears. Feng Ling looked at her own ears and looked at Chen Pingping with black lines on her head. I know it's perfect, you don't have to be so excited. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 542. Chapter 542. Chen Pingping looked at Feng Ling and sighed heavily, this woman is really... Not long after, Feng Shuang also saw his score, which was 89 points. Feng Shuang's heart sank. She had never received such a low score before, and she didn't know if anyone would surpass her. However, she asked people around her and found that many people didn't even pass, and she slowly felt relieved. Hey, I may have made a mistake this time, otherwise I shouldn't have lost 90 points, Feng Shuang sighed and said. Everyone looked at Feng Shuang and didn't know what to say for a moment. They felt that 89 was already very high, and he was probably the first place this time. But they didn't even pass, so they were really going to cry to death. Shuang, please stop talking and let us grieve for a while. Yes, we can handle it on our own, just don't say anything. Shuang, don't feel bad. You will definitely be the first this time. I don't know why this paper is so difficult. Why don't we graduate well? You have to keep us in school for a few more days. I want to graduate. Feng Shuang lowered his head, and the corners of his lips were slightly raised. Double, the list is out. In the afternoon, a girl said to Feng Shuang. She looked at the list, and first looked at her own ranking, because she heard that this time the paper was too difficult, so she would decide whether to take the retake exam based on her ranking on the list. Wow, my God, I passed the mark. I don't have to take the makeup exams, I can graduate smoothly. After the girl finished getting excited, she looked at Feng Shuang and said, I'll show you your ranking, but I know you must be number 1 without looking. Feng Shuang felt the same way herself, because she knew very well that if Feng Ling and Chen Pingping really surpassed her, they would definitely not remain silent now. How can such a person exist? Everyone is proud and saves face, okay. However, Feng Shuang doesn't know that there is another possibility in this world, that people don't take you seriously at all. Oh, we are tied for first place this time. We can take their money and go to the magnificent restaurant for a meal, bringing Qinruo and Luoluo with us. After taking a look at the list, Feng Ling said this seriously. Chen Pingping twitched her mouth. As expected of the big boss of the National Medical Alliance, this brain circuit is indeed different from that of normal people. Chen Pingping nodded, well, I'll contact them when the time comes. Lin Qinruo and Ning Luoluo have been busy graduating recently, so they don't have much chance to meet. I heard that Ning Luoluo had already found a company. After graduation, she decided to go to work directly because she loved working more than studying. Lin Qinruo is preparing for the postgraduate entrance examination at home. Because she wants to stay in school and become a teacher. After all, for their profession, being a teacher is a stable profession. Lin Qinruo was too tired in the past, so now he no longer wants to kill every day, he just wants to live a normal life. There are only Feng Ling and Chen Pingping. After it is over, Chen Pingping will directly guarantee the graduate school and then continue to fight for the medical career with Feng Ling in the National Medical Association for life. When are we going to collect the money? Wait for one day. If they can't become more conscious after one day, I will look for them one by one. Feng Ling smiled, but Chen Pingping felt that this smile looked quite scary. Chen Pingping chuckled twice and said, Lingling, I found that you are quite poisonous sometimes. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 543. Chapter 543. Over there, the girl excitedly helped Feng Shuang check her results, but found that this time, there were 2 people in front of Feng Shuang. How is it bad? Feng Shuang asked, pretending to be humble. But this time, the answer did not come quickly from the other side. Dong Shuang had a bad feeling in her heart, but she didn't dare to confirm it now. What's wrong? You didn't really fail the test, did you? Feng Shuang said, and walked directly in front of the girl, looking at the rankings on the screen, and then saw the two names in the first place, Feng Ling and Chen Pingping. Shuang, this must be an accident. The girl didn't know how to comfort Feng Shuang, so she could only say this. However, it was obvious that Feng Shuang was no longer someone who could be comforted by just a few words. She shook her head and took 2 steps back. How is that possible? How can they get 100 points on this test paper? Chen Pingping's usual scores are so different from mine. Even if she gets more than 90 points, it's impossible for them to get full marks. Feng Ling just said not long after I woke up, I couldn't even read the book, which was even more impossible. I'm going to react, I doubt their performance. Shuang, do you suspect the two of them of cheating? The girl was silent for a while and asked. Feng Shuang said, it's not that I'm suspicious, I just went to the teacher to check the evidence. In other words, Feng Shuang confirmed that the two of them had cheated. Oh, you said, we cheated. In the principal's office, Feng Ling put her hands in her pockets and leaned against the wall, looking like a wandering crane. Where's the evidence? I have asked the teacher to check the evidence. As long as the monitoring is checked, it will be confirmed that you cheated. Feng Ling, I didn't expect you to be so unscrupulous for money. You are simply disgusting. Feng Shuang looked at Feng Ling angrily, which made Feng Ling feel as if she had robbed Feng Shuang of something. It was really so funny. Feng Shuang, I advise you to stop here, otherwise, you will see what you don't want to see. Heh, Feng Ling, are you scared? And you, Chen Pingping, I didn't expect you to have fallen to the point of cheating. Again, I didn't cheat. The current Chen Pingping made Feng Shuang feel a little strange. Before, she had always thought that Chen Pingping was a very obedient person, but this time, she was unexpectedly strong. Until now, she has never found it difficult to tell the truth. No, is it because Feng Ling is there? Feng Ling, do you think the Ye family can really cover the sky with one hand? This is Beijing University, and with so many eyes watching, you, Ye Qinghan, can cover 2 people even if you cover the sky with one hand. It's impossible. Feng Shuang, I asked Ye Qinghan to help me with this matter. It was all your whim from beginning to end. I have talked to you a long time ago. It doesn't matter if you are ordinary. However, if you are ordinary, you have to support others and let others be ordinary. If others are not ordinary, they are cheating. If others have a backup, it is your fault. There were times when God was negligent when he created humans. Some people are just smarter than others. There is no way around this. You have to admit it even if you don't admit it. The principal of Beijing University silently watched the boss show off. 3 years ago, he originally had no hope that Feng Ling could survive. A group of people from the National Medical Association came and told him that Feng Ling would definitely wake up and asked him to protect Feng Ling's things. From that time on, he knew that Feng Ling should be from the National Medical Alliance. After all, the youngest child of the National Medical Alliance was only 6 years old, so it was not surprising that Feng Ling was from the National Medical Alliance. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 544. Chapter 544. However, the principal was about to speak, but was stopped by the big boss's look. Well, okay, it seems the big boss is going to do it himself. The principal continued to shut up and silently watch the boss show off. Principal. You are here to give me an evaluation. Why am I so hard-working? But they can surpass me just because they have a background. So what's the use of my efforts? Classmate, this society is very complicated, don't be so simple. The principal glanced at Feng Shuang with pity. Feng Ling does have a background, but her background is with the National Medical Alliance. It would be strange for people who come from the National Medical Alliance not to get 100 points in the test. Their test paper is for college students, not for people from the National Medical Alliance. Regarding what is inside. For people, this test paper is as difficult as 1 plus 1 equals 2. So, 100% is not normal? What's there to be angry about? It's strange, Feng Shuang is not a member of the National Medical Association. If you can, go to the National Medical Association and ask them why they teach Feng Ling and Chen Pingping so well. So, principal, you admit that Feng Ling and the others have a background? And, you took advantage of their background? The principal glanced at Feng Ling, wondering if this was allowed to be said. Feng Ling curled her lips. Feng Shuang, you can tell you that we do have a background, and we do use our backstage, but our backstage is the knowledge in our stomachs, and our background, you will be able to reach it all your life less than. Principal. Are all the big guys today so worried? He looked at Feng Shuang and felt that Feng Ling was going to make this girl sick. Tisk tisk tisk. However, who asked her to accuse others of cheating one by one? It deserves it. Principal, we checked and found that Feng Ling and Chen Pingping did not cheat. They must have gotten the papers in advance. This classmate, you can't say that. This time, there are a few questions that we changed temporarily. Moreover, you should have heard when we changed it. Moreover, the error rate of those questions is more than 90%. The teacher was unhappy. Speaking of which, she was keeping the test papers this time. When Feng Shuang said this, did she mean that she was colluding with others? Simply sick. Feng Shuang didn't expect that no one would support her when she came to report it. She didn't understand why this was the case, but if you don't think so, how can you explain that Feng Ling got 100 points in the test? How can you explain that Chen Pingping can't surpass me every year, but this time she got 100 points? I can explain this to you first. Because of the difficulty of this test paper, I had mastered it 5 years ago, so, now, it is as easy as primary school calculations for me. Second, the reason why Chen Pingping cannot surpass you every year is because as long as she surpasses you, you will make trouble for her. She doesn't want you to waste her time, so she swallows her anger. You should have heard of the National Medical Alliance, Feng Shuang. Perhaps, do you think you are good enough to surpass the internal members of the National Medical Alliance? What do you mean? Feng Shuang turned pale and looked at Feng Ling. It's not interesting, I just want to tell you that the background you call is the National Medical Alliance, and our background is the knowledge passed down to us by the National Medical Alliance. You said you are internal members of the National Medical Association. This is impossible. How is this impossible? Suddenly, a man appeared at the door. Shangguan Mo, why are you here at this time? The National Medical Association has something we need you to deal with. It just so happens that you graduate today, so I'm here to pick up Pingping. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 545. Chapter 545. Shangguan Mo looked at Chen Pingping with love in his eyes that could not be hidden at all. Feng Ling raised her eyebrows. It's just an excuse to ask me to go back. It's true that you came to pick up Pingping. Little ancestor, please don't say that. If you say that, those people who are looking at things won't beat me to death. Shangguan Mo was frightened all of a sudden. Everyone around them immediately became excited after hearing Shangguan Mo's identity. Oh my god, Shangguan Mo is actually from the National Medical Association? But why does he seem to have such a good relationship with Feng Ling and Chen Pingping? Furthermore, it seems that he is very respectful to Feng Ling. Feng Shuang also noticed this kind of respect. She didn't quite understand why. However, thinking about the relationship between Shangguan Mo and Chen Pingping, she felt that she should understand. Feng Ling, is this the relationship you are talking about? Are you worthy of young master yet? If young Master Ye knows, do you know what will happen to our Feng family? Why are you so selfish? For the sake of your own scores, you ignore the development of the entire Feng family. What are you going to say again? Feng Ling frowned, feeling that her and Feng Shuang's brain circuits were really not on the same line. Why couldn't he understand her? You just slept with someone else, didn't you? Have you fallen out with an insider of the National Medical Association, that's why you are so respected? I am really good at passing you, Feng Ling, you really don't deserve it. This classmate, who are you? Feng Ling is the founder of our Chinese Medical Alliance. Without Feng Ling, there would be no Chinese Medical Alliance, there would be no me, and there would be no Ping Ping, and many medicines would not be put into clinical use now. You actually spoke so foully about our founder? In this life, you will never even think of entering the National Medical Association. Shang Guanmo looked at Feng Shuang coldly, and then said, we still have something to do. If there is nothing, we will leave first. By the way, before I came in, I heard you say cheating? Haha, the founder of the National Medical Alliance needs to cheat? How low do you take the words National Medical Alliance? As an internal member of the National Medical Association who has been in the National Medical Association for more than 3 years and almost 4 full years, if you don't have a 100 in the test paper, you will be kicked out of the National Medical Association. The reason why Ping Ping has always been lower than you is because she doesn't want to be beaten by you. When it comes to hindering her study, you and Ping Ping are no longer on the same starting line. As for you and Feng Ling, I wonder if you were born to the same parents. Why is one so smart and the other so stupid? Shang Guanmo can really scold people 7 ants and 8 ants. So, Feng Ling quickly stopped her. After all, her National Medical Association still wanted to save face. Okay, Shang Guanmo, let's go. Feng Shuang, do you know now? So give me the money quickly and give you 3 days. Otherwise, I will have to collect it myself. Don't let me wait until then, otherwise, I will be very unhappy. I am unhappy and I don't even know what I am doing. What do you think? You shouldn't have thought of that. You threaten me. You just think so. Feng Ling turned around and left calmly. Even if it is a threat. Chen Ping Ping. Boss, wait for him, she wants to learn too. Shang Guanmo felt something bad when he saw Chen Pingping's look in his eyes. Generally, Chen Pingping's look in his eyes meant she has the urge to learn, but how can his cute and gentle Ping Ping imitate such heart-wrenching words from her little ancestor? No, 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 it's too destructive. Ping Ping, how about I treat you to dinner tonight? Okay, but I want to talk to Lingling now. I haven't seen you for a long time, please tell me first. Shang Guanmo felt pitiful. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 546. Chapter 546. No, after Chen Pingping said that, she turned around and went to chat with Feng Ling. Shang Guanmo looked at all this and opened his mouth, not knowing what to say. Co-author, in the heart of his girlfriend, the little ancestor is more important than him. It hurts my heart. This heart is so knotted that I don't know what to say. After arriving at the National Medical Alliance, Feng Ling looked at Shang Guanmo and asked, what's going on? Shang Guanmo said, the medicine you asked for recently, there was news from Country M that they have it, so I was wondering if you want it. Where? Feng Ling's eyes lit up. Because her and Yeking Han's souls are always traveling in different spaces, they have recently discovered that they are not very stable. Sometimes, the soul and body will be separated. Therefore, Feng Ling's sleepy third grader has been thinking about what to do. Go solve this matter. Later, she grew out, but fire crystal is a very ancient medicinal material, so Feng Ling just took a chance. Unexpectedly, he was actually found. I'll send you the address later. Well, please make arrangements and I'll be there soon. Okay, Shang Guanmo nodded, then thought about it and asked, but do you need me to go with you? After all, there is just news from that place, and we don't know the specific situation. No need, I will take Ling Shuang with me. You and Ling Shuang, that's okay. Ling Shuang is also a very powerful person in martial arts. Therefore, if he takes Ling Shuang with him, he will feel at ease. Are you going to country M? Ye King Han heard Feng Ling's words and sat up. Well, there are fire crystals there. With the fire crystals, I can make soul condensing pills, so that the soul and body will not be separated, Feng Ling said. Then I'll go with you. No, I can do it by myself. Feng Ling shook her head and wanted to refuse. However, Ye King Han hugged her and said, no, you have just recovered. Lingling, I don't want to restrict your freedom. It's just that you just responded. I'm really worried. Just let me follow you once, I won't follow you next time, okay? Ye King Han knew that Feng Ling was not someone who liked to have others follow her wherever she went, but if she didn't, he would really feel uneasy. Yeah, good. Feng Ling knew very well what Ye King Han was worried about. In fact, she felt that it was nothing, but Ye King Han should be worried about her. I won't be angry. I know you are good for me. Ye King Han, there will be no quarrel between us. Never. Feng Ling patted Ye King Han on the shoulder. Actually, you don't need to be so cautious. Although I have just recovered, my soul is stronger. On the contrary, it is you who are not very light. Therefore, the fire crystal must be found. This once we go to see the situation. If we can find it, we are lucky, but if not, we just go and have fun. In any case, even if there is no fire crystal, I can still find a way, but it will be much slower. This slowness sometimes goes out of control because she is not sure whether the slowness will affect Ye King Han. If Ye King Han's separation speed is faster than her ability, then her second method will be useless. No matter what, I will help you restore your soul and body while I'm looking for the fire crystal. But I cannot guarantee the effect myself. She can only hope that the effect will be good, that's all. It's okay, I believe you. Lingling, if one day I have to leave this world first, you don't say such things. If such a day comes, I will leave with you. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 547. Chapter 547. Ling Ling. What? Are you moved? Don't you know how? Feng Ling raised an eyebrow and looked at Ye King Han. Ye King Han rubbed Feng Ling's head helplessly. Of course, I can't live without you. Over the past 3 years, I can hardly stand it any longer. So Lingling, promise me you will never leave me again. As Ye King Han hugged the girl, Feng Ling felt that the man's body was shaking. He was really scared. Feng Ling nodded, okay, Ye King Han, I promise you that I will protect myself well in the future. I will protect myself no matter what. You will do the same. Well, I promise you, except when you are in danger. Ye King Han said silently in his heart. The two of them immediately went to Country M, taking a plane. Arrived in Country M, based on information from Shang Guanmo, Feng Ling contacted Alan. Hello, my name is Alan. Alan is a handsome blonde man. When he saw Feng Ling, Alan was surprised. To be honest, Feng Ling is really beautiful. He has never seen anyone so beautiful. Chinese girl. You are beautiful, Alan said in fluent Chinese. Thank you. Feng Ling smiled slightly and nodded. Soon, Alan took them to the palace. This is the palace of Her Majesty the Queen. Please come in. Her Majesty the Queen is already waiting for you. Feng Ling paused and said, Huozheng. Only Her Majesty the Queen knows where the fire crystal is, so if you want to ask about the fire crystal, you still have to go see Her Majesty the Queen. Alan's voice is very nice, and it's hard to tell whether it's real or not. Fengling and Yekinghan looked at each other, then nodded, okay, you can take us there. The two people walked into the palace. The Queen's palace was really big, just like the fairyland in the TV series, except that there was no white aura. Her Majesty the Queen. After seeing Her Majesty the Queen, Alan knelt down on one knee. Alan, they are. Returned to Her Majesty the Queen. Yes, they are the ones who came to look for the fire crystal. Well, please step aside first and I'll have a chat with them. Her Majesty the Queen looked at Yekinghan, a bright light flashed in her eyes. Yekinghan looked at the Queen's face, with a flash of doubt in his eyes. Her Majesty's face always felt a bit familiar, but not very familiar, as if many years had passed. Your name is Yekinghan. When the three of them were together, Her Majesty the Queen looked at Yekinghan and asked. Yekinghan nodded, yes. Oh, no wonder, Her Majesty the Queen whispered, but neither Fengling nor Yekinghan could hear what it was. Queen, what is your name? Just call me Eliza. The Queen was not so enthusiastic towards Fengling. Such differential treatment raised questions in the hearts of both Fengling and Yekinghan. To be honest, Fengling asked Shangguan Mo to connect Huozheng. However, now, the Queen is not enthusiastic about Fengling, but is very enthusiastic about Yekinghan, which has to make people feel suspicious. Queen Eliza, where is the fire crystal? How can we get it? Fire crystal is in the mountain behind my palace. However, you can only enter the mountain on the 15th day of every month, so you may have to live here with me for a while. Why? Fengling was a little confused. Could it be that there were things in this world that existed only in other worlds? For example, formation. So you can only go in during designated times. Because, there is a legend about that mountain. If it is not 15, anyone who goes in will die. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 548. Chapter 548. Elisa's statement made Fengling and Yekinghan stunned for a moment, but they had no choice. They didn't know the true situation of which mountain or even where it was. So, Elisa said this, they can only listen like this. Well, let's go back first and come back on the 15th day. Wait a minute, Elisa organized them. She looked at Yekinghan and said, the nearby hotels are full now, so you might as well stay in my palace. After all, this place is in a remote place. You don't have a car, and we don't have a car in the palace. If you go to the second hotel, you may not be able to get there tomorrow morning. Eliza was right. Fengling observed it carefully when she came here. It was indeed deserted and there was only one palace. So, if you want to go back, it may be a bit difficult. Fengling and Yekinghan looked at each other, then nodded, okay, then we'll trouble you, Queen. It doesn't matter. The Queen nodded with a smile, and then called Alan over. Queen. Take them to where they live. Yes, Queen. Alan brought the two people to a room, and then asked someone to bring in the food. Fengling took a look at the dishes. They were the ancient food she had stayed in before, and they were particularly exquisite. There's no need to eat so much. There are only two of us and we can't finish it. It doesn't matter, this is the Queen's order. Alan nodded, and then stepped out. Nothing else was said. Outside, Alan looked at the maids around him and said, you know what to say and what not to say. If you let them know something, don't blame the Queen for being ruthless. Yes, the maids seemed to have no emotion, they saluted, and then went about their own business. I always feel it's a little strange here, Fengling and Yekinghan said when there was no one around. Yekinghan nodded in agreement. Anyway, let's get the fire crystal as soon as possible and leave without getting into trouble. However, there is still 1 week until the 15th day, and no one knows what will happen in this week. Fen Ling sighed, and then prepared to eat. However, when he added a piece of meat and brought it to his mouth, he paused briefly, and then continued eating as if nothing had happened. How? Over there, the queen changed her usual pleasant expression and looked at Alan. Go back to your majesty the queen, they have already eaten. Well, very good, there are still 7 days until the 15th day, those amounts are enough. Congratulations to her majesty the queen. No need to congratulate me, Eliza smiled, I have been looking for this child for so many years, and finally found a chance to bring it back. I must not let others take it away. He can only be mine. He can only be mine in this life. My people. Her Royal Highness the Queen is wise. Stand back, I want to be alone. Eliza waved her hand and said. Yes, Your Majesty the Queen. After Alan left, Eliza stared at a mirror alone in a daze. Hey, in fact, she was once a woman full of love, but who made the world unfair to her. In her original body, she was betrayed by her husband. When she came to this body, she not only lost her husband but also lost her son. After she came, she could no longer give birth to children. Because she was ugly, no one dared to have her. If he hadn't cast forbidden spells on himself later, he wouldn't have become what he is now. However, this forbidden technique has a side effect, that is, her lifespan will be shortened. How long she uses this forbidden technique, her lifespan will be shortened. She couldn't bear this. She should have lived a long life. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 549. Chapter 549. Later, she found a way. As long as she could have the blood of her own son, the side effects of the forbidden technique would disappear as long as she exchanged blood. So, she found Ye King Han. She was very aware of the relationship between Fen Ling and Ye King Han, and besides, Fen Ling had been in a coma for 3 years during this period. When she woke up, her precious son would definitely cherish Fen Ling even more, and would definitely follow him, even if he didn't. She will definitely let people find ways to force Ye King Han to come over. As long as Ye King Han comes to country M, she will have someone to catch him. At that time, she will be able to successfully obtain Ye King Han's blood. Tomorrow is the 15th day. On this day, Fen Ling said to Ye King Han. She looked at Ye King Han, her eyes filled with light. Ye King Han smiled and said, well, I'm 15 so, some things can be solved. Just when they came over, Fen Ling discovered that their food had been drugged. This kind of medicine Fen Ling had seen before. It was a medicine that would make people lose strength gradually. The dose was not large, so Fen Ling immediately pills were made and they would take them every time they had breakfast. So now, outsiders think they must have been poisoned, but in fact, they can kill a few cows if they are good. Let's see what this Eliza wants to do. Fen Ling smiled. No matter what she wants to do, if it's not good for you, I will tear her into pieces. Ye King Han's tone was dangerous. Furthermore, their people are already outside the palace and will come in as soon as Ye King Han gives the signal, but Elisa doesn't know all this. You too, the queen invites you to go. Alan came. Okay, alright. Let's go. Their attitude is the same as before, almost unchanged. Aaron didn't find anything strange about the two people, because the two people had maintained a distance from the beginning, so Alan didn't find the current indifference strange. You two, the queen has prepared a big meal today, you two should eat before you leave. Why do you hear this? It sounds like you have eaten enough before going on the road. Fen Ling raised her eyebrows. Did not speak. Ye King Han also noticed it, but like Fen Ling, he wisely chose to remain silent. Now, Elisa and Alan have not explained their intentions. They need to wait until they are completely clear about their intentions. You guys are here, how have you been these past few days? Eliza looked particularly excited when she saw the two people. Today is the time for her to fully recover. It's pretty good, but I feel like my body is a little soft from lying down all the time. When Feng Ling said this, he specifically observed Elisa's expression, and sure enough he saw the corners of her lips that didn't hold back the temptation. It's probably because you haven't exercised much. It doesn't matter. Eat more today, and then I will take you to get the fire crystals. Eliza poured a glass of wine for the two of them, and then handed it to them. Feng Ling and Ye Qinghan drank a glass without hesitation. Eliza didn't know that when she arrived, Feng Ling had already prepared pills for everything. Her tricks now have no effect on Feng Ling and Ye Qinghan. It's a pity that she didn't know it at the scene. By the time she found out, she was already playing. We've finished eating. Your Majesty, please take us in. Although Feng Ling didn't know what she wanted to do, she knew that Elisa had a fire crystal, but no one had seen where the fire crystal grew. So, she chose to remain silent. If Elisa was going to cause trouble on the edge of the fire crystal, it would be the best for her. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 550. Chapter 550. Both people have their own thoughts, but Eliza herself did not expect that the other party was so smart. According to her original plan, she brought Feng Ling and Ye Qinghan to a room in the forest. You guys wait a moment. It's a little difficult to pick the fire crystals. I have to go there myself, so you just stay here first here, I'll pick it up and take you out later. Okay. Feng Ling's eyes flashed and he nodded in agreement. Eliza didn't suspect anything and went out directly. Feng Ling and Ye Qinghan knew very well that they couldn't wait for Eliza now. As for what was waiting for them, they didn't know. But they are not people who sit still here, let's go out and take a look. Ye Qinghan nodded, then took Feng Ling's hand and went out. The fog in the forest was so thick that they could hardly see anyone more than 1 meter away. So, they can only ensure that they don't lose it by holding each other's hands. If it were someone else, they might not have the mentality to say that they would not lose it. However, Feng Ling and Ye Qinghan have been through each other so much, and they already have a mentality that they can trust each other. The two people walked forward for a long time, not blindly, but according to the instructions of the Zero Track. Because, Zero Orbit just told them that the fire crystal is indeed here, but Eliza will never take it off, because as soon as the fire crystal is taken off, it will lose its effect. If you want to refine the fire crystal, it must be refined while it is still alive. In other words, to refine the fire crystal, it must be refined while the fire crystal is still growing in the soil. So, Eliza basically deceived them. Feng Ling and Ye Qinghan didn't believe that Elisa, who knew there was a fire crystal here, didn't know how to use the fire crystal. This was not deceiving herself or others. Ling Ling, it's just ahead. Orbit Zero felt it for a while and said, just walk a little further to the left. Okay, got it? Feng Ling and Ye Qinghan were about to move forward when they suddenly felt the ground shaking. Then, they felt the ground suddenly sinking. What's the situation? Feng Ling frowned, but now, they were in the fog and could only cope with the changes by staying the same. I don't know. Behind me. Ye Qinghan blocked Feng Ling behind her. Behind the scenes, Elisa saw Ye Qinghan's move, and a trace of viciousness flashed in her eyes. Her son is really too emotional. Queen Eliza, what do you mean? After the ground sank and the surrounding fog disappeared, Feng Ling saw Eliza and asked. I also want to ask you what it means to walk around casually. Eliza, you don't have to say that. You and I both know that this time, you brought us here and you didn't want to give us the fire crystal at all. Oh, you know, seeing that they knew, Elisa had no expression on her face. Anyway, this is her territory, she can do whatever she wants, no one can control her. But, so what? Yeah, King Han, you know, why should I ask you to come over this time? Yeah, King Han frowned and said nothing. Elisa didn't seem to care about this, because you are my biological son, I just miss you, so I want to bring you to me, that's all. My mother is dead. Yeah, King Han frowned. He still didn't believe that Elisa was his mother, because she looked very different from the mother in his memory. The mother in my memory was very gentle, but this Eliza was very vicious. End of this chapter.